Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. It's very surprising that at a time when we are facing an unprecedented crisis the world over, we are talking about human rights. We are talking about human development. We are talking about going to the Mars. And we are talking about seeing that every person on this earth gets whatever the person is entitled to be to merely by being a human being. A bill is moved by one of my colleagues here on population regulation bill. So we might be in competition with lots of countries the world over on many issues. But to try to bring some kind of a motive, to bring some kind of an angle by way of controlling population, I think bringing a law or a bill makes some kind of an absurd picture before me as an individual. I went to the bill brought by my learned colleague. I also heard his views on the same. I would not like to answer to the motives which are behind the bill, because any bill that is brought has a statement of object and reasons. Why do you want a particular bill? A bill becomes a law. That law is meant for the people of a nation. Law is meant to serve justice in the end. And justice is over the ages, from the time we had traditions, norms, culture, folklore. Then we went to the Enlightenment age. And then we went to an age where we had systems of law and legal systems in place which delivered justice to the people as the time required over the centuries. And today we are in the third decade of the 21st century, talking about giving justice to the people of the world, because we are one world. That's what we talk about. The Honorable Environment Minister is here, and he talked about one grid, one connection with all the countries of the world. And so I'm talking about a global world. In this situation, when we are talking about population regulation bill or controlling the population, or talking about bringing an embargo or a limit on giving birth to children, bringing human beings in this world, I do not understand the rationale of the bill. It can be said that, well, if population is controlled, if there is birth control, there can be more use of resources. People will get more amenities. They'll be able to have a nice way of life. And the government will be able to provide sustainable development to the people of the society. Well, these are very good arguments to be made in support of the bill. But when a bill is brought with an ulterior motive, with some kind of motive that you want to control population, you want to have certain sections of the society, certain peoples of this world to stop giving birth to more children in the name of population control, in the name of giving them some more facilities, I think it does not stand on its feet. It crumbles, because the very idea of human development, the very idea of giving human rights to people who are born as human beings, gets totally shattered by this particular kind of a bill, sir. Sir, the bill says that, well, there will be incentives, there will be benefits, incentives given to people working in the public sector, people working in the private sector, and there'll be benefits to people who would go for one child, two children. But sir, what is all this about in the end? All these incentives and all these benefits the bill is talking about somewhere points to the inefficiency of the governance model. Is the government of the country unable to provide sustainable growth, sustainable development? It cannot handle its own population. What is this meant for? If you are trying to segregate sections of society by bringing majoritarian view in this particular bill, a minority view, I think that doesn't serve the purpose, because we are bound by the constitution of this country. The constitution has given several fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy, and it is for the government to decide what it would be doing for its own people. But a private bill that has come today has opened my eyes, and I'm sure it will open the eyes of all the people sitting here who are bound by the constitution of this country. Ultimately, it narrows down to human development. Ultimately, it narrows down to what you are giving to the people. You are not able to give, so you snatch away what the person has. We are, sir, discussing surrogacy bill. We are discussing designer babies, because today we talk about single parents having babies of their own. We are talking of a world where we have LGBTQ rights we want for the human beings, whether they can have children or not, whether they have right to the reproduction of human beings. And here is a bill that is talking about going against nature. Sir, we live in a country which has a history of thousands of years. We have a history where we consider the children as our resources in a sense. They provide the love the parents want in their old age. But what we see, sir, on one hand, there is not a word in the object and reasons or the motive to bring this bill. What are we doing with our children on the streets? Abandoned children, children in shelter homes, children in remand homes, children in juvenile homes. Has there been any bill to say that yes, we will care for these children, and because of this situation we need to enlighten and bring awareness to the citizens of this country that there should be some kind of a population control? That can be a milder way to put it. But you have ignored the wide section, the class of the people in this country, and that is the children, the vulnerable class. They're entitled to rights, they're entitled to entitlements. But a newborn child on the street, an abandoned child on the road, put on the temple streets. We are in India, we talk about Sanskriti, we talk about duties, we talk about our Mahan Sanskritis and lineage, but we find day in and day out small babies put in the cradles on the church floors, on the temple, abandoned children. Are we giving these children their due? We are talking of not bringing children in this world by this population control bill. So are you going against nature? Are you going to stop human development? Are you going against the human rights of being born? You're talking about this kind of a philosophy in a bill where you are totally unable to show that yes, this government has failed. The present governance model has failed. It cannot look after its population. And so there should be control on the population. Is this the motive? Is this the thrust of the bill? I'm asking myself, is this the way you talk about the people of your own nation? That okay, if you have one child or you have two children, you will be able to give better education, you will be able to give them better resources, you will be able to give them a better life. Who promises that? Supposing the bill is passed, who promises them these facilities? Sir, the pandemic has shown us stark nakedness that we have been unable to even bring those children and students who have been out of the system because of the pandemic to re-enter the education system. We do not know the ratio of dropout. We do not know how many girl children have stopped going to school because of non-security or safety reasons. We have not been able to see that we create digital infrastructure to give education to these children, and we have not been able to say that yes, today our healthcare system is there and so we'll be able to provide for the people of this country. So 2 more issues I would like to say. That what would you say to people who would start going for sex selection? Because in a country where you want male child and you are trying to bring population control bill, are you going to start bringing criminal angle in the whole thing by bringing this bill? Sir, this population control bill is totally not required and should not have been brought by my learned colleague. With whatever intention he has brought this population control bill, he should have concentrated on seeing that the resources of this country are geared towards human development. The current situation should be that the government should make itself so strong, so capable, so efficient that it uses the resources for the existing population rather than talk about bringing curbs on population bill. And on a lighter tone, he should have put 2 more things. I know this bill is never going to be passed, but 2 things. As he has not mentioned about already people who have got 5 children, 7 children. And he has not talked about that there should have been an incentive or there should have been an embargo that those who have not married and don't have children cannot come in public life. You should put that. This is a lighter tone. So when you talk about population control bill, you should have a holistic approach when you put objects and reasons. So I say that this is absolutely a misplaced bill. You should have thought before bringing the bill.
Thank you.
Should not be entertained.
Thank you. Professor Manoj Kumar Jha, not present.